Hey there, this is your girl, Angela D Stribling, the host of a new After Sunday podcast. You can always catch us every Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube. You are going to stream them through Facebook and TikTok on certain features. So today, I'm in the hot seat. Um, my birthday's coming up, April 22nd, Earth Day. So, as always, I like to do something a little different than the norm. You know, us tourists, we're a little extra. So, I haven't shared my story in a while. And I think today would have been the perfect time for my new viewers and people who aren't familiar with my story to get a glimpse of actually who Angela Stribling is, why she got started, and how she got started. And I have my guest host today, and I'm grateful that he had the time to take to share this with me and go through the questions and interview me. And Mr. Nightmare Stallworth, how you doing today?
Great, great. I guess the most important question is how are you doing today,
Oh,
Angela?
I'm blessed and highly favored every day. I'm just grateful. My birthday's coming up, and unfortunately, because of the many commitments that I have, I won't get to, take some time off in different spectrums, but other spectrums I'll still be working. But, I'll get the chance to get some rest when it's time. But
Hmm.
show must go on, right?
Yes,
Um,
yes.
and I decided when it was time for me to want to tell my story, I was thinking, who can I get to be able to help me with this? And because our conversation that I had when I interviewed you, it was so poignant and profound. And I thought, well,
Uh,
maybe if you had some free time, you can definitely be able to lend that assistance to me. So I'm grateful for you to come on. So I'm going to stop talking and I'm gonna let I'm gonna let you go because once I start rolling, I get to rolling. So I'm gonna let you
Sounds good.
go ahead and interview me.
So first thing I want to state, Queen, I am honored to do this interview, this role reversal, because listen, I cannot realize and understand the magnitude, how taxing it is on your mind, body, and spirit doing this kind of work. And who more than you? So my question number one for viewers who don't know, okay, who is Angela Stribling? Where are you from and where did you grow up at?
Okay, so I'm Angela D Stribling. I was born and raised in the Hill District, PA. I'm in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I'm the youngest of six to Elizabeth and William Stribling. My dad, he worked for U.S. Steel, which is the big steel industry that was in the city in the 60s and the 70s, which he wound up retiring from in the 80s. And my mom was a homemaker. And as the youngest of six, my brother and I were the two youngest, and he and I think, were the closest. So I followed him all around. Like, I'm this girly girl, but really, I'm the girl who was with my brother with the go-karts and with my brother when he was doing the paper route kind of thing.
uh,
I
uh,
have four sisters and two brothers, but he and I were just kind of, because we were the two babies, were the closest. Throughout high school, I went through the public school system. Um, and, knowing who you are in life now,
mhm.
certain things kind of catapult you or take you or veer you off on certain circumstances. And I had a good upbringing, you know what I mean? Like I said, my dad worked and he provided for his family. But something tragic happened in 1985. My mother
Mm,
passed away a year before my last year of high school. So that was definitely detrimental to, me as this young woman who was blossoming, having the whole world in front of her, you know what I mean?
mm,
Knowing what was my next step. So that kind of
yes.
derailed my life dramatically. Um,
Mm,
so with that being said, instead of me, and I was pretty smart in school.
mhm.
Dr. Hill, he was our music teacher. I was in the choir, and he hooked me up with Hampton University. So my last year of high school, as it was as traumatic as it was, just fighting through that after the loss of my mother, I was still going to go on to college to Hampton, but instead, as you have it, I got pregnant. So
Mhm.
having my first son, I got pregnant in 1986, and then every other year I had, you know, two other sons. So
More blessings, more blessings.
blessings,
Uh-huh.
definitely more blessings because now, as I know,
Uh-huh.
was by design to have
Uh-huh.
the when I did. You understand what
Yes.
I'm saying? For most
Uh-huh.
people, they might feel like that would be a deterrent, but it was
Uh-huh.
something that my dad always put in my head. My mother, before she passed, she kind of knew she was leaving. She had had a surgery, and after that surgery, like she would have a nurse come and like take care of her wound or what have you. But she had gotten blood clots in her leg. And sometimes God will reveal because she was saying stuff to my dad, like, make sure Angie goes to college. And he was like, Lizzie, what you talking
Mm-hmm.
about? And she's like, he could like, you're gonna be here, or make sure she has pictures, make sure she going to college. So after she died with him telling me these things, it was always embedded in me. And always, and even though I didn't go to school in the normal traditional high school, right out of high school, it was always stuck in me. So after my kids got a little bit older, I
Mm-hmm.
decided to go back to college. I went to it's a program, a women's program in the Hill. It was called Carlo Hill. So I went there initially and met some powerful women in the community who was teaching us on how to actually be Black women and strong Black women and career women and driven women. And I learned so much from that program that after that first year, I went on to the main camp. 1 or 2 years, I think I spent over there. Then I went to the main campus of Carlo, and I finished my degree. And after I got that degree from my mother, I said, "Well, while I'm in the mood, I might, while I'm still in that role, because you got to be driven. Once you're in that run, I said, well, I might as well go and get her that master's degree. So when my dad meets her again, he can get to say, Lizzie, she got him. She not only got you one, she got you
Yes.
two."
Yes.
Then after
Yes.
during that time frame too, my brother had a horrible accident at the hospital, which rendered
Mm-hmm.
him losing his leg, and then
Mm-hmm.
it eventually killed him. He lost both his legs, excuse me, and then one of his arms. The initial injury
Mm-hmm.
happened with his arm. He went in with a just a normal procedure, and the morning he was going down to surgery, the nurse comes in and he injects him with the medication the wrong way, and as a result of
Mm-hmm.
that, and my brother was a diabetic, but with that poison and that trauma in his body,
Mm-hmm.
it did him in. So he was going through that for 2 years. And in the meantime, my dad was getting up in age, you know what I mean? So he was going through the normal process of, just, getting older. So I wound up losing my dad and my brother within 2 months of each other. And
Wow.
the brother who was my best friend, that took a lot out of me. Like, you know how you
Uh-huh.
ever have something to take the wind out of you?
Yes,
That, you're
absolutely.
a boxer, if somebody hits you, you know how that can just, yeah, that was that blow. And
Oh wow.
it took me through a lot, you know what I mean? But my God is a healer and a deliverer.
Mm-hmm.
I left Pittsburgh and left here and went to Charlotte, North Carolina with no plan, no nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I just needed to leave here and
Mm-hmm.
catch
And
my breath.
heal.
Yeah,
That's
and
right. And
heal.
heal.
Right.
Yes.
But you
Yes.
take you wherever you go, right?
Yes. Yes.
And even though, I was in a space where I was away because I couldn't even look at like my dad lived in Caleb or Irvis to his last years. I couldn't even look at the hill. It was just giving me anxiety. I couldn't even be on the
Mm-hmm.
hill. It just gave me that much anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so then when I went to Charlotte, you know what I mean? The book that I wound up writing um
Yes.
lended to
The
the
book. Yes.
experiences that
Uh-huh.
encompassed me. And you know what I mean, didn't realize that it was what it was going to be. But the
Mm-hmm.
experiences I had, it was like I was in a Lifetime movie. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but it was all for God's glory and it was
Yes.
all designed. And even though you don't understand that at the time, it was
Uh-huh.
crazy. I was like, "Hey, there's no
Yes.
way this normal person from the hill who just was
Mm-hmm.
going to work every day then goes
Uh-huh.
through all these traumatic events." And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe this is really happening. But it did. But
Uh-huh.
by the grace of God, I survived, I endured. And when I came back home, I realized that was a lot. And what
Mm-hmm.
was that all about? Because it was bigger than just me. Because I'm not a what's the word you want to say? I'm not a irresponsible individual with
Mm-hmm.
life, with me. You know what I mean? So with those situations kind of running me through what it ran me through, I was like, that's different. Something happened. So gratefully, when I came back to Pittsburgh, I was different, very different.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
Um, so people who knew me back then, I was changed. You know what I mean? And I jumped right back into church. And I gratefully, the job that I had, I was grateful to go back to get the same job, but with a different department. But when I would come
Mm-hmm.
home from work, I would be exhausted. Like I would get home like at 5:30, able to eat something, and I was just exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, I didn't realize there was this book that was being birthed in me.
Mm-hmm.
And the gentleman who I interviewed, Parrish Davenport, a couple of weeks ago, he and I, we went to church together as young people. And I seen him one day, was on the way to town, and we were both on the P1. And I asked him, I was like, anybody who can write a book? And I was like, we can do it. And I
Mm-hmm.
started regurgitating my experiences of what I went through, and um,
Mm-hmm.
started doing that. But it was really because of this young lady I had seen at an event. I was in a leadership program with. Her name was Laura, and I hadn't seen her since I've been back in town. And she was like, Angie, so how was Charlotte? And I shut up because I was like, all this trauma, I didn't want to release it because you be
Yes.
afraid. You don't feel like, oh, I should. She's like, tell it, tell your story.
Correct.
So every
Uh-huh.
time she would hit me on Facebook, she'd be like, Angie, tell it. And once I got with Parrish, I was like, I'm telling it. And so once we through the process about 6 weeks, and once I got the manuscript back, God was like, nope, that's not it. So God made me go back and
Yeah.
sit down. And I was like, you need me to tell
Uh,
everything? It's like, I need you to write everything. And in the
uh-huh.
meantime, my publicist, I'd already found my publicist before I even released my book, which is when it's in design plan for him. And once
Mm-hmm.
I completed it, it took me about 2 months to really regurgitate and fill in the blanks. I handed it over, and boom, I released it in 2019, the end of 2019. But with
Mm-hmm.
that, that took me through another situation. Like when you
Mm-hmm.
give yourself and you know that something's on you and the hand of
Yes.
God is on you,
Yes.
say it like that.
Yes.
So he almost took me out again. But by the grace of God
Deep.
up here, you know what I
Extremely
mean?
deep. Yes. Yes.
But when yeah, so once I was able to come out of that, I couldn't walk for like 2 months. You know what I mean? I had like
Wow.
6 surgeries and seven,
Yes.
including a skin graft. But I'm here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm
Listen,
grateful and
extremely,
humble.
ex,
You know?
ex, extremely profound. So listen, guess what, right? I tell a person all the time, you want to make God laugh, tell me your plans. That's
Right,
number one.
right.
And I love the training that he actually put you through. He allowed you to go to North Carolina. He allowed you
Yeah,
to go through trials and tribulation. You know why? Because he's getting ready to bring a huge ministry out of you, which brings me
yeah.
to my next question. My next question is, I understand that you are a minister, right? How did that come about? Now, I've heard some of the trials and tribulations, right? But you actually being a minister, right? What events led up to that, for you to take those steps?
Right. Like, so I haven't been officially ordained, but you don't need to be officially ordained when God has a hand on your life. You understand?
Correct. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because there's
Uh-huh.
plenty of people get ordained and not really called. So
That's right. Yes,
I
absolutely.
knew,
Uh-huh.
I
Yes.
knew when I was in North Carolina, and I used to smoke cigarettes back then, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when I would get off the bus from my job, because
Mm-hmm.
I just got to let you read the book. But I was smoking it. They had little stops. They had little sections where you can stop and smoke a cigarette. So as I was waiting on my bus, I was smoking a cigarette,
Mm-hmm.
and I had my umbrella up, and I had my earphones in. And this guy comes past. It was around Christmas time, and he points up at the sky, and I'm like, "What?" He was like, and I took my earphones out. He said, "I can see Jesus all around you."
Big, big, huge,
I
huge.
said, "What?" He said,
Ah,
"He's right up there." And then just the experiences that he sent me away to experience with women who
Mm-hmm.
the same grief and trauma that I
Mm-hmm.
experienced. He
Mm-hmm.
sent me away to meet and minister women who had dealt with that. And
Mm.
because he had brought me out, I could then share with them the
Uh-huh.
goodness of God and how he healed me and
Uh,
introduced them to God. You understand?
that's right. You're a fisher woman. You're a fisher woman for other women. That's right.
For
Not a
other
fisherman, but a
women.
fisher woman. That's right.
Yes,
That's right.
exactly. And he
He
took
used
me
you as a humble
all the
vein.
way down. He took me
Uh,
all the way down to the bottom where I
mm,
was like, Lord, for real? And once he did that, I said, well, if I'm going to be in this place with these women and he's here, I'm good. You
yeah,
understand? So I just start
absolutely.
asking him, well, show me what you want me to do. Tell me who you need me to
Uh,
talk to. And it was really humbling to know that God has his hand on you and used you. And it's my life's work. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
not always just being in a building because you have to meet the people out where
Mm-hmm.
they are. And he sends people to me all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I told you about a young lady that was just over here where I'm live at now. I ran into her 2 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and just me passing out some information for the Juneteenth for the next thing that I'm going to share what I do. Um, she just broke out and was emotional. And I was just asking her, like, you got a young child? And she was like, yeah, but he's not with me. And when she was smoking, her hands were trembling. And I prayed
Mm-hmm.
for her there. And she began to tell me during COVID, she was so afraid of what was going to happen that she had met this guy online and he
Mm-hmm.
was trying to lure her out the country. But out of
Mm-hmm.
fear,
Mm-hmm.
of her child, in the safety of her child, she was willing to go. And she got as far as Ohio, where her sister lived. And her sister, she probably told her sister, like, and her sister probably was like, what the heck is you talking about? Like, you're not taking him anywhere. So those are the people that he has me encounter. You know what I mean? And I'm grateful that when I can recognize it, to know that my life is bigger than me. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and like I said, once I got back, I wrote the book. I started sharing my book and vending and speaking. And before COVID, I was really, because before the book even released, I was traveling all over the country telling people, look, this book is coming out and just marking my footsteps. So when COVID went, so once the book released, I was ready to get out there. And I
Mm-hmm.
started locally, me and Parish, we started doing little events in the area talking about, grief and depression and just
Mm-hmm.
what I mean, wellness in itself. And then once COVID hit, that kind of put a stop on it. But even in COVID, but the second injury also too kind of slowed me down. But once the book was released, I was still back out there. But during
That's
COVID,
right.
it gave me another time to just sit back and say,
Uh,
okay, Lord, what's next? And he
uh-huh.
gave me the vision for what's next. When I
Correct.
was in here, just seeing all the madness on the news with, the politics and George Floyd, and I was like,
Ah,
this stuff is crazy.
politics. My next
Yes,
question. Yes, yes. So,
and
of course,
I had
change is
never,
needed.
right, I had never
So,
worked
and we
before.
needed you. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, and I just started working the polls, my son and I, and then we found
Uh-huh.
out how to actually run. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, well, if that madness is going on in the federal government, let's see what's going on locally. And I just
Mm-hmm.
ran. And I gave him, I'm like, Lord, I don't know what you need me to do, but show me the way. And he showed me,
Mm-hmm.
and I got enough petitions to run, and I got enough votes to win. My
That's
son and I
right.
ran
Yeah.
together, and
Say one more time to win. That's right. That's why. That's what. Listen, you don't know what the Lord is doing, but He know what He's doing.
he
Right? He chose the
knows
right
more.
person. When
But
you
by
say win,
faith, by
that's
faith,
an understatement. That's big, Angie. For the,
yeah,
not just run, but win, because He
yes,
knew He
yes,
placed something inside of you, right?
yes,
Not just the soil, but the seed also, right? So He
yeah,
put you in a slingshot and send you out to do His work.
yeah,
Because change is needed.
yeah,
That's
it
big. That's
is.
major, Angie.
It
That's
is. It
major.
is. It is. And once
Wow,
I won,
you
I
wear a
was
lot of hats.
like, what?
Uh huh.
But then I
Yeah.
started to ask him, okay, what do I do now? So initially, my son and I ran together, and I won, and he didn't. But God had another plan because then, when the one young lady who went on to other things, there was a space open. So my son interviewed and got that position, and now he was elected in November. So we're both on
Ah,
council,
beautiful.
which is
Yes.
which is
Yes.
tremendous, because definitely, people need to represent not only everybody, but
Mm.
definitely those who are the least of them. And with my background of God,
Hmm.
a way to those spaces to meet with different people, um, I do have a heart for those that are in need, and that's my call. And that's why even with he just gives me things. I was just recently, and I stopped it, but I could still pick it back up. I had a national radio show, and that came
Mm.
about just out of the blue after I won my seat. I was getting this
Mm.
call from North Carolina, and I know the 704 because I live down there. And I was just
Hmm.
getting a call from them to say, hey, I got this radio spot. You want to come check it out? But I had started putting stuff online since COVID, and I was doing the stuff I kind of do now. And somebody discovered it. And I went to, at first I was saying to my son, is that real? And he was like, well, they got an Instagram, so it might be real. So I went to North Carolina. I made it a birthday weekend. And I went down there and interviewed for the spot. And the guy was like, well, why do you think you should get it? I was like, it's my birthday.
Yeah, you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong with
He
that,
was
right?
like, oh, because it's
Right.
your, I said, yeah, that's
Yeah.
right, because it's my
Yeah.
birthday. But it was nice. So I've done that for 3 years, and now I just decided to take my podcast to another level. And I'm
I like
hoping,
that.
because here's the thing too, like I've had people who not only tell kind of prophesied over me, so I kind of know where God is leading me. So I just
Mm.
kind of say keep myself focused and relevant
Mm.
to making the necessary steps, because faith without works is dead. So you got
It's
to do the
dead.
work. You got
Yeah.
to know that
Uh-huh.
your purpose is not just your day to day job. It could be, but
Uh-huh.
when God has purpose for you, you have to keep doing the work and trusting Him, and knowing that it's bigger than what you can
Yes.
even imagine if you believe, because you first have to believe. There's many people who
Uh-huh.
know the Bible and can quote it front and back, but do you believe the words? Do you believe we're
Yes.
a
I speak
conqueror?
about this
Do
all the time.
do you believe?
All the time.
I ran my running when I ran for office. My tagline was Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. I'm nothing without Him. You know what I mean? I'm
Mm-hmm.
nothing without God, but in Him, I can do all things. And once
Mm-hmm.
you believe that, you have to believe those things for these
Uh-huh.
blessings or your purpose to kind of manifest. Because my God, I
Uh-huh.
don't know what everybody's God looks like, but my God is
Uh-huh.
humongous. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
He's not a local God. He is everywhere. So wherever He sends me, wherever my destiny is going to be, it's going to be where He sends me. And it's not going to necessarily be in one location. And I think sometimes people try to keep you limited in that, because whatever your gifts are, your skills are, they're detrimental to the cause at hand. But
Mm-hmm.
God has called you. He called you to something great, because my experience
Mm-hmm.
definitely has been a Job experience. I just came out of something recently last year, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just like, but
Mm.
you gotta prepare for those stumbling
Exactly.
blocks, I call them, because they're just another level to refine you, to make you more crisp for the mission. You know what I mean? And for the
I
call.
like that.
You
I
know what
like
I
that
mean? So I
stumbling
used to
blocks.
get afraid though. I used to be like,
Yeah.
oh my God. But now I
Yeah.
understand these are purposeful for what I'm called to do.
Yeah. So faith with no fear. So from my observation, yes. When am I hearing received from Angie? Yes. Number one, you carry an anointing. You wear plenty of hats. You're driven. You're authentic. You're educated. You're for the people, right? Now
Yeah.
shifting a little bit. Okay, what does a relaxation day look like for Angela Stribling? Things you like to do for fun, because guess what? You never want to do all business but not have a little bit of therapy,
That's
whether it be
true.
movies, music, traveling. Tell me a little bit about that part of Angela Stribling that society will definitely want to know.
if I'm not working, and I'll work and work and work myself until I'm on a flight somewhere. I mean, I just love traveling. I love meeting new people. I love
Uh-huh.
meeting different people. I love going to different cities and just sitting in the culture of other people's lives and experiences. I like meeting people on planes. I've had the best conversations on the plane. I met a guy coming back to Pittsburgh. He was a priest, and we talked
Mm,
about our we talked about our journeys together, and this guy
mm,
prayed over me and we cried together. Like that's
mm,
the type of people that I encounter. One time I
mm,
was I had to go get my son because he was moving back to Pittsburgh, and his dad had drove the U-Haul, but it was too full. I was like, "That's okay. I'll catch a Greyhound back." On the way back, I go to the Greyhound station. I run into this young lady. She's sitting there with kids, and she needed me there at that time because something was wrong with the ticket, and I was able to give her money to feed her and her kid. It was just
mm.
running from an
Yeah.
abusive relationship.
Wow. Wow.
So when God said, and then that's when sometimes too I be kind of, because when He sends me places, sometimes it's not about me, it's about a situation that's at hand. That He truly puts me in front of. But I like to travel. Sleeping is my favorite pastime. Uh,
Yeah, you got to rest up. You got to rest up to be restored, especially the line of work you do. You got to get your rest. It's mandatory. I know that for a fact.
so I'll just cut
Yeah.
it off for a day and just get my sleep on. You know
Mm.
what I mean? And my best friend, she's called me a old lady because I always be like, oh, I can before we go out, I gotta get a nap, but I gotta take a nap because I'm not effective if I'm not refreshed. So
That's right. Yeah.
I like reading.
Queen.
I love music. Go
Yeah.
ahead. You
So
got a question?
so yeah, I got a question. So who are some of the great people that you're inspired by? That's very, very important because I'm saying, I always ask a person, why do a person have this perspective, think like they think, and who influenced them to carry on the work that they do, right? And who do they get the most energy from when they read literature or motivational speaking or maybe books? Who would you say inspired you?
Well, which is so ironic, which I didn't talk about in the beginning, so I'm glad you brought that back.
Yes.
So um, Angela Davis is my
Mm.
shero. Um,
Ooh.
I
Yeah.
was so you got
Repeat
to
that
figure
one more time. One more
she's
time for the people in the back. Say it
she's
again.
my shero. Like
Yes. Uh huh. Yes.
years ago,
Absolutely.
as a kid, I always wondered where I got my name, and my
Hmm.
mother told me my cousin Peaches named me Angela. But here's the thing: you got to think. My birthday is April 22nd. I was born 2 weeks after Martin Luther King died. So
Mm.
imagine that tribulation that my mother was experiencing with me still in the womb after that traumatic event. Um,
Mm.
so with her telling me, Angela, I started researching. Well, who is this Angela Davis, the intelligent one? What is she all about? What does she do for the movement? I've I've read up on Elaine Brown. I've read up on Ashada Shakur. Them was strong, powerful women.
Oh, yes.
Um, some people give Oprah a bad rap or don't like Oprah, but Oprah, as a young woman, seeing Oprah's ascend to what she's accomplished, is nobody can touch her, regardless of what you might feel about her. She done her
Mm.
work and got where she was supposed to be. Um,
Mm.
Michelle Obama, Maya Angelou. I've
Hmm.
read books. I mean, I've been a reader. I've read the books from the greats. And there's some women who are local that, you know what I mean? But my mother is my first role model. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Everything
Mm.
I'm doing in this
Mm.
legacy, I'm doing it for her.
Yes.
Because when I
Yes.
die, it
Uh-huh.
ain't going to say nobody else's name. It's going to say Angela was preceded in death by Elizabeth Stribling. You understand?
Yes.
So
Uh-huh.
I'm doing this to fulfill her legacy for the life
Right.
that she raised me to be. And for all those women who don't feel as though you can persevere through anything, that was
Hmm.
a lie. I've come
Yeah.
through a whole lot and we're not done. Um,
Yes.
when you go through those traumatic situations, it's not for you to just sit it down. It's supposed you to be grateful and humble and ask God, okay, so what am I supposed to do next? Because I knew it was you who delivered me. So that in a nutshell is why I'm out here doing the work that I'm doing. And when I get a chance to break, even sometimes I want to sit down, I still can't get that sit down. I got an email I got to look at. I got some other stuff I
Hmm.
for the podcast, and I'm grateful to be able to bring on guests like yourself.
Uh-huh.
I can
I
showcase
appreciate it.
what they're doing in the community and beyond.
Uh-huh.
Because people need to know it's not the people who are already selected or connected with
Uh,
nepotism. It's people
uh-huh.
out here who are truly doing work that needs to be recognized. And
I
that's,
like that. You
yeah,
hear what you hear what you said?
yeah,
It's a
yeah.
saying I always say. God does not call on the qualified. He qualified those who are
Right.
called.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yes.
And it's sometimes
Uh-huh.
people get where they are because they're connected to a certain group. I'm
Uh,
truly God made and self made. And I
uh,
know as long as I keep him first, I don't
uh-huh.
need an endorsement. He's the only
Right.
endorsement that I need. You know what I mean?
That's right. That's right. The ultimate endorser.
He's the ultimate endorser.
Yes.
All
The
of this is
author.
his. You
Yes.
understand?
Yes.
I
The
don't need
author.
nobody
The
else's
decreer.
help.
That's right. The decreer. The author. The endorser.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes,
The
yes.
fuel. Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
when I
Yes.
before the primary, I he came to me like the Holy Spirit was like over me a week before I even won. And the
Mm,
crazy feeling was sick. I couldn't move. I mean, I worked from home and I was working and I couldn't even move. And I was like talking to my best friend at the time. You know, we would text throughout the day because she worked from home too. I was like, can you have
mm,
your brother call me? And he's a minister. And he called
mm,
me. And I'm like, bruh, what is this feeling? It's like, dang, the Holy Spirit showed up already. It's like, you know,
mm,
when? And that's when I knew that, you
mm.
know what I mean? Because he knows the plans that he has for me. His plans are not to harm me, but to prosper me and give me hope in the future. As long as I know Jeremiah 29 and 11, it don't matter what it looks like. It don't matter what
Mhm.
a person says. If he knows the plans, then I'm following his plan.
That's right. Amen. Amen.
Yep.
A quick question. So, what are some of the projects you plan on doing this year? Let's say summer, fall, winter.
Well, I have a lot, but my son he
Uh-huh.
just did an article with somebody else, and he said I never tell my next move, but
Gotcha.
I am in Spelman, and I have one more class to take, so I'm
Hmm.
focusing. That's my next focus, so I can get
Ooh.
that certification. Um,
Hey, I like that power. I like that power move. I
yeah,
hear you. I see you. I see you, sister. I see you,
yeah.
queen.
Um,
Uh-huh.
but I do have another project in the works that I've kind of been sitting on because God hasn't told me to release it yet. And
Hmm.
so this time, I'm going to release it. But also, I want to talk about even through once I wrote my book, I also started a scholarship fund through the Pittsburgh Foundation on
Mm.
behalf of my brother as the Gary L. Stribling Scholarship Fund. And I've had people who have been sewing into that for years. I think it was 2017 I started it, and I've definitely still been in contact with them. And what that does is provide funds for books or, if an additional college tuition for those individuals in the community, kids that need assistance. So I am
Mm.
focusing on bringing that out. Once I share this interview, then I'll definitely put that information back up on my on my Facebook and my Instagram because I'm still doing that.
Yes. Don't forget. I need a copy of your book immediately. And how can the viewers get a copy of your book?
Oh, guess what? My book is still on Amazon.com.
That's
And
right.
Amazon.com at any time and pick up my book. And
That's right.
I got a book for you. Don't worry about it. I even signed it. You know what I mean?
I feel honored. It's nothing like that. I feel
When I
honored.
was
That's
in
big.
Alabama for Christmas too, my friend's mom, I was telling her my story. And I sent her a copy too. And strange enough, it's kind of coming back out. So I don't know because I'm also, we're planning our Juneteenth here in Swissville on June 23rd. I think I might come back out with some books and start selling them again because I haven't done that in a while. And that truly was my passion. You know what I mean? But due to COVID, everything kind of deterred that. But again, you know what I mean? If I was doing that, maybe I wouldn't have been doing what I'm doing in the community as far as the council stuff. And I do enjoy that. I'm in my third year on council, and we definitely do what's right and what's needed for the community. So I'm excited about that piece and whatever God brings with that in the future. I'm excited as well. So I'm just grateful for all the different
I
spaces
just
it has me in.
so as you're talking, as I'm analyzing, I just had an epiphany. Okay, how about just my thoughts in the future, Angela? You need a documentary about your life. You know why? You're wearing an invisible crown right now, right? And guess what? It should be called Angela D Stribling, the uncrowned queen. What you think about
That's something to consider, right? That's something to consider. I had a call the other day about a lady for something that they want to honor me with.
it?
And I still have to process it, whether, you know what I mean? It was a lot of information. It kind of caught me off
Yeah.
guard, kind of overwhelming when they told me about it.
Mm.
But whatever he says is
I think for
really,
me, I personally think you'd be a huge, 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 huge inspiration to women. A huge
yeah,
inspiration. I
yeah,
know what it is I'm seeing and I'm hearing. A huge inspiration because
yeah, yeah,
this is a message.
yeah,
Okay, it's
yeah,
it's a message that they need to
yeah.
hear that needs to get out.
Definitely,
The,
the
the
piece.
uncrowned queen, the uncrowned queen, Angela D. Stribling, the uncrowned queen. I
Definitely
like
the
that.
point of overcoming. You know what I mean?
Uh huh.
Because
Yeah,
you have to
resilience. I hear
be
resilience. I hear
resilient. You have to keep.
power,
Yeah,
anointing, resilience, faith with no fear. I'm
yeah,
hearing all of that.
yeah,
Shining like the sun,
yeah,
transparency.
yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I'm
I
not
see it.
afraid of my story. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Because
That's right.
it happened, and it had to happen. Because if it didn't happen, I wouldn't be in the spaces that I'm in. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Or doing the work that he's called me to do. So you got to go
Uh
through
huh.
those stumbling blocks in order to get where you need to go, unfortunately. And some people fear that. Some people, you know what I mean,
Hmm.
shrink from those situations. But now I just embrace it as another opportunity to the next level because there are next levels.
Yes. So let's say an average troubled woman, and she stumble upon and you see her with her head is down. What would your direct advice be to her?
Listen, even in my day job, I talk to people all over the country who are going through things, and I just tell them, listen, this too shall pass. This isn't the end. Even though even circumstances look crazy, like you never know what's going to happen tomorrow. You're never going to see tomorrow, but you got to trust the process. And once I start telling them a glimpse of what I've come out of, then they be like,
Mm.
for real?
Mm. Mm.
Tell you
Mm.
what I've gone through. And
Uh,
once they see their situation, because the situation can look humongous and to a person who's never experienced it. But when you
right.
break it down to them and understand this is just all part of the process, or even give them words of advice, or even say, okay, well, let me see what type of resources I can help you with. Because some people just let people stay stuck in that situation. Like the young
Yeah.
lady that I seen at the store, we exchanged numbers. I prayed with her. I sent her information regarding the same day I met her. That my radio show was talking about my conversation with another young lady that interviewed me for my radio show. I tried to
Mm.
tell her, look what happened.
Mm.
Look what I came out of.
Mm.
But she, and she went through some different channels, and I was grateful I was ever able to be there for her as a listening ear to help her navigate through those situations and circumstances. And when she came out of that, we lost contact, but sometimes it's over. The popcorn is over, and you trust the process that you're doing okay. But and I prayed with her right then and there. I don't have a problem with praying where you are. We can be,
Yeah. I
in
love
the
it.
middle of a
Yes.
June, and I'm going to pray for you because I've done
Yes.
it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's not about just being in the church. You have to be, if you're a minister, you got to be ministering everywhere you see people, because he's gonna send somebody to me. It's without
Mm.
fail, because he knows I'm going to do the work, and he knows that he can trust me, and he knows that I love him that much. I'm going to do what he tell me to do.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. This has been such a powerful, powerful, extremely powerful
Yeah,
interview. I'm
yeah,
beyond honored.
yeah.
Honestly,
Well, I thank you. I thank
yes,
you
yes. And
for
guess what, right?
being able to
We
do
can
it.
listen. We can go on forever because you give me energy, right? You give me the chills when you speak. Your story, give
Yeah,
me the chills, right? And I
yeah,
know that you would be a huge benefit, for everybody through them reading your book,
yeah,
watching your work, watching your podcast, also hearing you speak.
yeah,
Having you pray around them, having you amongst them. See, there's two type of people. There's certain people who are roses and complain that are surrounded by thorns, and there are other people who are thorn who praises roses because they're in the process of roses, right?
right.
One thing I can say is, I'm a hard man, I'm a thorn, right? And guess what? I praise for being around roses that God does that. I appreciate it from
Yes,
the bottom of my heart.
thank you.
Now,
Yeah,
quick question. Any last words for any viewers? Because we can go on forever. I'm not
yeah,
ready to go unless you are, but very, very important, right?
yeah.
You're a very, very, very profound woman who wear a lot of hats, extremely influential, period, right?
Hmm.
Any last words for the viewer that you would like to, any kind of messages you want to get out there?
Definitely. When you're failing, that's God's redirection. So
Mm,
when you're failing at something, don't ever look at it like I failed. Just look at it like, okay, Lord, will redirect me. Where do you need me to go? Um, Trust the process. Trust
mm,
it. Even when it looks crazy, know that as long as you put him first and keep him first, he's going to
mm.
work it out for the good. Um, do the work. Never
Yes.
give up. Continue to
Uh-huh.
do the work, even when it gets hard, even when you get tired. But if it's something that you know that's really in your gut that this is going to be what you know you want it to be,
Mm-hmm.
you got to keep going, and you got to have patience. Uh,
Mm,
I'm waiting a long time for a lot of stuff that I want, and I'm gonna keep
mm-hmm.
waiting because He's not going to withhold any good thing from me as long as
That's
I
right.
it's according to His purpose and it's in His will for my life. So just
Mm-hmm.
take the waiting as recognition and confirmation
Mm.
that it just hasn't come yet. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes. And
And that
you have such a powerful Instagram. What is your Instagram name? And also how can everyone reach Angela D Stribling, the uncrowned queen? The uncrowned
yes.
queen.
Well, you
Uh-huh.
can reach me on Instagram at Stribling AD736. You can reach me on my Facebook page, author Angela Stribling. You can even reach me by telephone, 412-390-5654, because all the scammers, I can block you. And you can reach me,
Good.
you can reach me
Huh.
by email, angelastribling2 at gmail.com. But if you
Uh-huh.
want to come on my podcast, if you're looking for another level of availability or visibility, please be sure to check me out. I'm on every Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube. Or if you want to catch me on Instagram, I'm under, again, Stribling AD736. You can also catch me on TikTok on Angela D Stribling. So I'm there too. So you can inbox me, DM me, any of those other avenues that we do on social media.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah,
Uh-huh. Y'all heard, world? The queen is in the building. Ain't no excuses. Get on
yeah,
that train, baby.
yeah,
Get on that
yeah,
religious and spiritual train, baby.
yeah. So I'm just
Or
grateful.
or else die of starvation because you got a lot to give.
Yeah, yeah. And I can't, and I don't know if I can still say this anymore, but my tagline used to be "Can't stop, won't stop."
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna have
Uh-oh.
to, I'm gonna have to find a new tagline.
Uh-huh.
But it's all
Absolutely.
good. But see, now if I can take the ring back, so when
Uh,
I close, I always say something. So because you're the guest host, you're gonna have to say a tagline to end this in this segment.
Okay, my tagline, right? It might sound a little bit serious, right?
Yeah.
Um, you got to die before you die, so when you die, you don't die. One more time. You have to die to selfishness. Die, you don't die.
Say it
One
again.
second. Ah, you like that?
Yes. So, as I say, this is Angela D Stribling.
Receiving the
Take
phone.
care, stay blessed, and
I'm not
remember,
sure. I just
pay.
blocked. I blocked the call that was coming through.
Yeah, I see that. So, again, this is Angela D Stribling. Take care, stay blessed, and remember, pay attention, ladies and gentlemen. Say your thing one more time so they can hear it.
So one more thing. One more time. You got to die before you die, so when you die, you don't die. One more time. You have to die before you die, so when you die, you don't die. So die to selfishness, ignorance, and all
Yes,
that. And be reborn. So when you die, you don't die. Eternal life, baby.
absolutely.
Eternal,
Absolutely.
eternal life.
Yes, and thank you. It's my birthday. Go,
Happy,
Shorty.
happy birthday, baby.
Yes,
Happy
yes.
birthday, Queen.
We'll see you on April 22nd. Be blessed.
You got it.
See
Be
ya.
blessed. Please, Queen.